I've had many business failures over the years. Some have resulted in millions of dollars lost, lawsuits, bad press, you name it, I have failed at it. And even my most successful businesses have come very close to failing. And so if you are in that position right now, your business is headed in the wrong direction, you might be at the brink of failure, I'm going to show you how you can turn it around and what steps you need to take right now today. First off, let's define what failure actually is, because failure is a relative term for different people. For example, if somebody is just starting out in business, failure to them could be not selling a client. Man, they just never really got it off the ground. For another person, they could be in business for years and it's just not growing, or now it's starting to lose money and they don't really know what to do. They could be headed for bankruptcy. They could be headed for shutting down the business, and therefore it's now on the brink of failing. For others, they might have not made money for years, but they're having success. You see this with startups and tech companies where they know they're not going to be profitable. It's built into the business model for years, and that's why they've raised capital, knowing that, eventually getting market share and being worth, many, many millions of dollars. And then lastly, you've got people who might consider a business a failure that's been very successful, but now is no longer growing. It could be very profitable for a long period of time, but it's just no longer worth the time and energy to continue on in that business. I can tell you, I've had mixes of all those different businesses in my career. For this video specifically, I want to address the business that has been going for a while, but is now on the brink of failure. Maybe you're in the real estate space like me. You've been doing it for a while now, maybe as a realtor or a flipper or a wholesaler, and all of a sudden things just aren't going your way. Deals aren't closing. You don't really know what to do. This video is for you. Maybe you're somebody who's in the education space or the online space. You've been doing it for a while. The customer acquisition cost is getting too expensive. You're not closing people at the same rate that you used to be, and you're not sure what you're supposed to do for marketing. Well, this video is going to be for you. And this will even apply to brick and mortar businesses where all of a sudden revenue's just not coming in the way it used to, and you got to figure out how to jumpstart the process. So if you're in any of those boats, then keep listening. The first thing that you must do is cut all your unnecessary expenses. As a business develops over time, you start to accumulate fat, and fat comes in lots of different ways. It can come from having too many employees. Maybe you had a certain amount of employees when you were doing a certain amount of revenue, but now you're no longer doing that. And so now you have just excess employees. That is a huge expense. Another expense could be a ton of subscriptions that you currently have. Every quarter, we now check our monthly subscriptions because we've applied to so many of them over the years. And then as time goes on, you realize that we don't actually use that thing anymore because the business has changed from when we first signed up, say, a year ago. So many people still have unnecessary subscriptions that they're still paying for. Regardless of what cost you cut, it's never easy. I can tell you this, laying employees off or repositioning them or downgrading salaries or whatever the case is never an easy choice. But you've got to remember, if there is no business because you're not making profit, then no one will have a job, period. And so you've got to always do what is best for the business. I've seen a lot of people get themselves into really bad situations because they care about their employees. I've been there myself. You continue to pay people even if they're not doing the work they used to do. And all of a sudden you look at your P&L, you look at the business bank account, and now the entire business is at risk. That includes not only the people who are doing extreme amounts of work for the business still, but it also includes your family, it includes their families and everyone else. So I always tell people that it might be really tough in the moment cutting somebody or lowering a salary or renegotiating pay, but in the long term, it is absolutely necessary because if there is no business, there are no jobs, period. Now, one expense that's going to be very hard to cut that a lot of people will be tempted to is marketing. Marketing is the easiest thing to turn on and off. Getting rid of people is harder than marketing because you got to actually do it. Turning marketing on and off is just simple as, we'll turn off the Facebook ads. We'll stop using, this service. I would highly, highly, highly discourage you from doing that. The moment a business turns off marketing is usually the death sentence. It might buy you a little bit of time, but if you don't have leads coming in, you are going to die. It's just a matter of time. Now, I'm not against maybe turning it off for a season or dropping the budget, but if you're been successful for months or years or whatever the case is, spending money on marketing and then all of a sudden you just turn it off, it just creates this massive kink in your assembly line. If you've got a sales team and now there's no longer leads, well, guess what? You're not going to have much of a sales team any longer. Eventually, all the people you have sold are going to be fulfilled, and then there's going to be nothing in the pipeline, and you're going to feel the effects months down the road. You may not feel it, this month. This month might look really profitable for you because you cut marketing and all that, but you got to understand your cash conversion cycle in your business. I can tell you, for example, in real estate, we have longer cash conversion cycles. Like if I get a lead today, I may not truly monetize that lead for 90 to 180 days from now, right? Because it takes time to follow up. It takes time to get the contract. If I do get a contract, it takes time to, either wholesale the home, fix and flip the home, whatever the case is. Either way, it's going to be 90, 180 days, could even be 270 days. It could be a year, right? But I'm not going to notice that happened until way later down the line when I did cut my marketing off. So it's kind of like, it might help you today for 1 month, but it's not a permanent solution. So my advice is cut all the unnecessary fat and things you can, like subscriptions and employees. And then, man, just like save whatever you can for marketing. Because if you don't have leads, you die. That's just how it goes. Second thing you need to do to stop the bleeding is renegotiate your debts. And so a lot of businesses have different debts. You might be paying rent for your building. You might have loans out on the business, credit cards, personal lines, private lenders, whatever the case is. If you're bleeding and the business is looking like it's not going to make it, then you've got to renegotiate the debts. Because here's the thing. If you fail, once again, it's kind of like what I said before, where if there is no business, there are no jobs. If there is no business and it fails, none of the debts are getting paid regardless. And so I've had a lot of real estate investors over the years go through this recently. When they doubled interest rates, a lot of people had private money loans with people and they weren't able to pay them back because, the properties weren't worth as much. And it's a really crappy situation, but it is what it is, right? I always tell people this. It's like, nobody wants to do the hard things, but they still need to be done. And you can complain and whine about it all you want, but the reality is when something doesn't work out, you still need to take a step forward. And so renegotiating debts is one of those things where, you just kind of look at the situation objectively and it's like, hey, this property didn't work out. What are we going to do? Maybe I can pay you back over time, over, multiple years or whatever the case is. Or maybe, we do what's called a short sale, in real estate terms, that would be taking less than what you are owed. But, a lot of lenders, if they're sophisticated, will understand, they understand that getting something is better than getting nothing. Inexperienced lenders will maybe try to play hardball and, say, no, I ain't doing that. I need all my money now. Well, guess what? That's the business is in that kind of position. So it's always in everyone's best interest usually to renegotiate debts. This is actually too true with lawsuits. I mentioned lawsuits earlier. I've been a part of tons of different lawsuits. And the thing that people don't know about lawsuits is that 99% of them actually never go to court. 99% of them are either just stopped, the person just stops suing because they realize it's not worth, all the expenses it's going to take, or they settle. Okay. They end up settling because both parties realize it's not worth the cost of going to court. Like if it does finally go to court, almost no one wins. The lawyers win, but the two people fighting it out don't really win. So, settlements and all of that would also be kind of forms of renegotiating debt to make sure that the business can succeed. Because here's the other part, right? If you're being sued right now and the business fails, the person suing you in a very likely case isn't going to get much because the business obviously doesn't have any assets. And if they pierce the corporate veil, then they're probably not getting anything either, because odds are if your business fails, you probably aren't doing very good personally either. So, it's just like when you're renegotiating debts or trying to settle lawsuits or whatever the case is, it's just about being transparent. And people on both sides need to have, I would say, good objectivity to just look at the situation and say, look, this is what it is. It didn't work out for either of us, right? I mean, if the business fails and the person who lent you money for the business, is therefore going to fail, it's not like you're making out. It's like, no, dude, this both sucks. Like my business is failing. I don't even know what I'm going to do. You can't get paid back. We need to renegotiate it. You got to take less, whatever the case is. You got to make those hard decisions with people during this period, because if you don't figure out how to get that settled, there's probably no chance that the business even has a chance to succeed. I've seen businesses so burdened by debt that even if they could turn things around, they would never succeed. Like the debt load is just too much. And this is why properties go into foreclosure. This is why businesses go into bankruptcy, because they owe their debtors too much. And so when I talk about restructuring debt, that could involve you going into bankruptcy as a business. And, it's a tough thing to deal with. I personally have never had to do it yet, right? I mean, it's an ego check. It's all these things, but there's a reason that the government created it. There's a reason that entrepreneurs go through it. Like, your business in most cases is going to end at some point. Like, that's the part that people don't realize, is all businesses end at some point, right? I mean, there's very few businesses that have been around 100 years. I mean, they've all been either, closed, gone bankrupt, sold, just shut down for no reason. There's lots of reasons why your business is going to have an endpoint. So, just accept that. Just accept that that's part of being an entrepreneur. I mentioned this before, but I've shut down many businesses over the years. Some that were not making money any longer. Some that were going through lawsuits. Some that were just not worth my time. Honestly, they were profitable, but they just weren't worth my time anymore. Some that the partnerships, we just didn't see eye to eye, and so it was better to just break up. Right. So overall, just start to evaluate how you can start restructuring all of these deals and money's owed. Those two are about getting everything under control. Now, once it's under control, we got to start taking steps to get the business back to profitability. And so the third thing you got to do is start selling. 100% of your time should be focused on selling and bringing revenue into the business. And the easiest people to sell are your existing customers. People who have bought from you before are the most likely people to buy again, right? Marketing is usually used to get new customers into your world. They've never used you. They don't know you. It takes time to build trust, but people who have used your services before are the most likely to use you again, assuming, you did a pretty good job. And if you didn't do a good job and you can't sell to any of your existing people, then that tells you, you probably just suck at business, at least this business in general. You probably might want to just already shut it down. If you don't even think any of your current customers like you, odds are your product sucks. And so maybe don't do this step. But assuming that, you got some happy customers and, people have gotten success from your product or fulfillment or enjoyment or whatever it is you sell, you need to sell those people again, because they're the easiest to sell. They're already in your database. You don't have to spend any more marketing to get somebody new. Sell to people who are already there. And I would also say this is the perfect time to create a new offer to sell. And so, whenever I launch a new product or a new offer, the first people I always sell to is all the people who know me already and who have bought from me before. Because here's the thing. If I can't sell to them, then this product sucks. There's no way I'm selling it to somebody else, okay, who doesn't know me. If the people who know me won't buy it, then the people who don't know me definitely ain't buying it. So, you got to make sure that you're selling like crazy once those things are settled, because that's the only thing that's going to help your business. You got to earn more revenue. You got to make more profit. And whatever your current offer is, clearly, hasn't been getting enough revenue, or else you wouldn't be in this position. So, odds are you need to try new offers. And I'm not saying you need to go completely reinvent the wheel, but, maybe you give discounts. Maybe you bundle things together. Maybe you change how you deliver it. Maybe it's more personal. There's lots of ways to fix your offer. There's lots of ways to increase the perceived value of your product. But, you're going to have to try something new to ignite people to buy more from you. And on top of that, right? Let's say you sell things that are one-time use. Okay. I'm in the monthly recurring business now with, some of my stuff, and I love monthly recurring now. It makes life way easier. But I've also been in the business where you sell one-time thing, and then that's kind of it. After that, they don't really buy another thing from you unless you sell something completely different. So if you're in the monthly recurring business, or a business that, they can keep buying the same things from you, maybe you, let's just say you own a flower shop, right? People can keep buying more flowers from you, right? Even though it's not monthly recurring, they can buy more flowers. So if I had a flower shop and I was struggling, I would try to go do a special right now to everyone who's ever bought flowers from me and I would try to get them to buy more flowers from me with a special deal, right? I might say, hey, guys, we're going to do 30% off all of our flowers today only. You can use it anytime. Maybe it's a 30% off gift card. Maybe because they don't want flowers today, they can go use it in the future for Valentine's Day or whatever the case is. Maybe I'm going to sell a bundle that I've never sold before. I'm going to say, hey, we're going to do monthly flowers. You know, you guys are so dumb. You always forget to send your wife flowers. That'd be me, right? They're like, we're going to make it easy for you. Every month, we're going to get you, flowers now. And so you don't even have to worry about it. It's going to be on demand. We'll pick the best day of the year. Give us some special dates in your life, a wedding anniversary, Valentine's, kids' birthday, like whatever, right? Just figure out what are some special dates, plus, just dates that everybody, would want flowers, and just get them on a monthly subscription for that, right? That's a completely new product for, say, a flower company. But I would just think of different ways to package your current offer that would excite people, right? And it would get them to buy it, maybe if they otherwise weren't buying it. Like I can tell you, if the flower shop that I use, I only buy flowers a couple times a year, all right? If the flower shop I used offered me something crazy that I couldn't refuse, right? They're like, Ryan, we'll do the flowers at, half off or something. I don't know if they have the margin to do it, but let's say they did. We'll do the flowers at half off, and we'll do it once a month. We will pick the best date. It'll be a surprise for your wife. You're going to love it. I would buy that. I would legitimately buy that. And now they turn me from a guy who buys flowers a couple times a year to a guy who buys flowers once a month. That's what I'm talking about with selling your existing customers. That's how you turn the business around, because you're generating revenue that wouldn't have been generated from your current product when people just buy a la carte. Like I'll give you another example of this, right? At Wealthy Investor, we now do lead generation. So we have these things called lead packs where we give people packs of 50 leads that they can buy, right? And I make people do it in monthly subscription. I say, hey, we'll give you 50 leads per month. That's not how typical lead generation companies do it necessarily. Some of them just do what we call pay per lead. So people just basically come as you go, come as you think you need leads, right? And people are different. People come when they think they need leads. They might buy leads once every quarter. They might buy leads once every month. They might buy them once every 2 months, whatever, right? But because we have, like, quote unquote, only allowed people to do it on a monthly subscription, it forces them into buying more frequently from our point of view. But the benefit for them is we can now give them a better deal because we know they're buying more frequently. So guess what? If they're getting leads more frequently at a better price on, the same date every month, not only are they going to have more consistency in their business, they're going to get more lead flow every month, and it's going to be cheaper. So everyone wins in that scenario. You see, customers will pay you more frequently as long as you can give them a reason to do it. So in this case, you're giving them significantly more value. You're giving them so much extra lead flow, and you might be solving a problem for them and making them not have to think about next time they need leads. You're already doing it for them. You're already reminding them. So those are just two examples of how I would sell existing customers better to make sure that they buy more from me, essentially. The other thing you could do is just create a whole new product, right? You could try just different things that you've heard your customers want from you over the years. I've done this many times. An example of this would once again be how Golf with Ryan started. So a lot of people started asking me, Ryan, I want to golf with you. How can we do that? How can we do that? And I was like, I don't know, dude. Like, we can make it worth my time. We can treat it like a consultation. We'll go to the course for 5 hours. We could go to lunch. In fact, if you want to come to the office, you could tour the office. And it just became this product, and people loved it. They started paying to come golf with me, spend time, come to the office, hang out. And it's been awesome. That product has made hundreds of thousands over the years and helped so many people. And guess what? The people who bought that product have bought other things as well, because that was their introduction, to my business and into my world. So the point is, I would create new offers based on what people have told you they've wanted over the years. Because if they've told you they want it, then that means they'll buy it. So listen to all your customer feedback and see what else you could sell them that you're currently not selling them. So that's the third thing you got to do. Just sell like crazy. Sell the same thing you got in different ways, and think of new things you could be selling your current customer base. The fourth thing you got to do, once you're selling your current customer base, is now focus on one marketing channel. If you got into this point and the business isn't doing too hot, that means your marketing probably hasn't been too great either. And from my experience, most people who are bad at marketing are bad because they're trying to do too many things, or they're not giving a thing enough time. So I'll get people who are like, Ryan, dude, I've tried every marketing in the book. They all suck. All the leads suck. And I'll be like, well, I don't think all the leads suck. Clearly people are making money. So maybe you might suck, right? I don't know that the leads are always the problem. Most people will blame the leads and very few will actually blame themselves or their sales team. In probably 90% of cases, it's actually them or the sales team. It's not the leads. And I see that in my own business. I mean, when we are not doing good sales wise, I'll have my own team say like, yeah, the leads weren't just good this month. And I'm like, really? Like they didn't change. The same leads you got last month, the same ad, the same everything. So you're just telling me we just, had this bad streak of luck where they're all just terrible? That's just probably not true. Okay. So, for most people, I would just say you got to focus on one marketing strategy. And the easiest strategy to focus on is the one that's made you the most. Okay. So too many times people do really well with a marketing strategy and then they instantly think they need to diversify. And I'm like, no, go all in on that marketing strategy. You're not even close to capping out its potential. Okay. So, for you, if you're listening to this, go all in on whatever has worked for you before. And if something hasn't worked for you before, like literally, which I don't know how you've been in business if nothing has worked, something clearly worked. Even if it's word of mouth, that is a marketing strategy that has worked. And you need to put more money into hitting the streets and developing word of mouth. You need to put more money in getting your current customers to refer you. And guess what? That's what an affiliate program is. Most people don't even realize like affiliates or commissions or referrals. If you pay somebody to do it, that is a form of marketing. You're paying them to market for you. Okay. And so if that's been your business to this point, figure out how to do it better. Don't worry about Facebook ads and YouTube ads and, all this other stuff. Figure out how to do that better. If you've done good with ads or you've done good with organic content, do that better. You're not good enough to need all these new strategies yet. You got to already do what's made you successful and got you to this point better. So that would be the fourth thing I do. Fifth thing you got to do once marketing is working is you got to just keep it as lean as possible and rinse and repeat. Once things turn around, you start to get very much back into the old ways that got you to this point. You get a little more lax with money. You kind of take your foot off the gas. You start trying new things and testing things and, you just kind of get more loose. That's just what happens when you make more money. I'm guilty of it many times. So what I can say is once you finally kind of get yourself out of the pit, you got to stay with it. You got to pretend like you're still in that pit. You're still, facing bankruptcy or insolvency or closing the business. Like literally keep that same mindset and keep doing the things that got you out of the pit. Because if you do the things that got you out of the pit, they're going to help you get way out of it and they're going to lead to success. And so for me, transparently, like I said, I've had many businesses fail. I've had many lawsuits. I've had many losses, a ton of bad press. So what have I done to get out of it? Well, like I said, I did those steps I just said. I cut expenses. I renegotiated things. I did settlements. I focused on selling to the people who already have bought from me, who have been happy with what I've done. I focused on one marketing strategy. In this case, it's Facebook ads. And now we're at the point where we're out of it and things are really good, but I'm keeping it lean. I'm not all of a sudden just going to go and, blow the top off, hire all these people, try all this random stuff, start a bunch of businesses again. No, that's what got me into the mess. I'm going to stay focused. I'm going to stay lean and keep this thing rolling. So you got to be able to focus and maintain doing the things that got you out of the situation. Now, if you follow those 5 steps, that assumes you got yourself out of catastrophe. The business is going to be in a better spot if you followed those steps. You're not going to be, so close to failure anymore. But if at any point during that process you hit a snag, then you're probably not going to make it, right? I mean, if you can't cut your expenses fast enough, you run out of money. So you don't make it. That's step 1. With step 2, renegotiating debts. If you got massive debts that are going to just tie up the business, then you're not going to make it, right? You got to renegotiate those debts. Third thing, sales. If you can't sell people, if you can't sell your existing people, then you're going to fail, right? Now, if you start selling and you can't focus on getting new people in the door, then at some point you will fail as well. So you're going to have to make it through all four of those points. And all I can say is if at any point you get stuck, right? Let's just say you get stuck selling people. Okay. I would say you got to test a bunch of different offers. Okay. If you can't sell people and people aren't buying what you got, try new offers. The first offer you try doesn't mean it's going to stick, right? I've had so many offers flop, but man, once I finally got feedback from them, I tested new offers. I tried different things. I found the offers that work, and then we made a killing. So with sales and creating new offers, it's all trial and error. You got to throw stuff up there, see the response to price, see the response to what it is they want, see the response to all those things, and then you're going to be able to figure out what does work. And the same thing is true of marketing, right? So if you sell your offer to people who've already bought from you and you know they like it, then now we got to go market. And odds are whatever you're going to do for marketing is not going to work out the first time. Marketing is all trial and error, right? You got to test different ads. You got to test different platforms. You got to test different copy, all this stuff. And so it takes time for marketing to work. So I would say with marketing, just keep testing, keep reiterating until you find the marketing strategy that sells that product. Now, I want to bring up one point that is really, really important, okay? Let's say you're doing all these things I'm telling you to do, and it's just not working out. The question you really got to ask yourself is, at what point is it worth it to stop this business? And this is a super valid question. And for most people, unfortunately, they have their identity tied up in their business. And so it's really hard to shut down a business. It could lead to, like I said, it could lead to, lost money, right? You look at all the money you put in the business and it didn't work out, therefore you lost. It could lead to lawsuits, right? You could have pissed off customers, pissed off investors, whatever the case is. Clearly, your pride, your reputation will take a hit with any type of business failure. It's hard. And I can tell you, it gets even harder once you're a public figure. Anytime I fail, I have people talking about it. And so it's never easy to shut down a business. It's never easy to deal with failure. But all I can tell you is I personally want to just give you permission to fail because it is a necessary part of success. If you look at the best entrepreneurs in the world, they have all gone through massive failures. They've all had to shut down businesses. They've all dealt with lawsuits. They've all dealt with, losing millions and millions of dollars, billions of dollars in many cases. And yet they are the best of the best. They're the most successful people in the world. They're the people that everyone knows. They can do the most. Their products are so innovative. That's what it takes to get to the top. And just realize the people that you think, are thinking about you and, they're judging you and saying things about you, whatever, just know those people really aren't doing anything with their lives, right? If they're spending so much time worried about you, that means their life must not have much going on. That's just the reality of it. And so don't worry about what anyone thinks. And then also too, I'll just tell you this, honestly, most people are so concerned with themselves that they're not even caring about what you're doing. I've been, like I said, I've been in so much just controversy over my life as an entrepreneur that you might be in the fire for literally a day. And then the next day, there's already the next drama. The news cycle is so short these days that drama just does not last very long. And people forget about it very quickly. And people are forgiving. America is a very forgiving place. We all understand life's hard. We all understand that not everything works out. And we understand no one's perfect. And so it's okay to fail. It's okay to shut down a business. It's okay to learn from your mistakes and try again. That's the biggest thing. If it fails, you got to try again. And, if you're at the point where you just don't enjoy it anymore, you're at the point where it's just not worth your time, you got better opportunities maybe, right? Shut it down. There's no harm in that. At the end of the day, if I look at myself, I'm not a YouTuber. I'm not a real estate investor. I'm not an education guru. I'm not a, guy who started whatever. I just consider myself an entrepreneur. I'm not attached to any one thing. I want to just do whatever I am passionate about, what I think is a great opportunity at that time, whatever I think has great potential. There are businesses that you start that seem that way. And then as time goes on, you realize it's not what you thought it was, or maybe the economy changed, maybe the market changes, the whole industry could change, government regulation could change, anything could wipe out a business tomorrow, right? Doesn't make that it was the wrong choice whenever you started it. It just is things have changed. And so it might be time to shut it down with whatever, the world is giving you. And even your own personal situation could change. You might want to spend more time with your family. You might want to move. Other things become a priority. The business is no longer, at this priority level for you. So I just want to say, shutting down a business in some cases is actually the best move. It's not worth continuing to beat your head against the wall trying to make it work when in reality, it's just not going to work with what the current circumstances are. So, anyways, I don't really want to end on that note saying go shut your business down, but I am just saying that it is okay to do. It's okay to fail, but hey, let's try and save it before it gets to that point. Let's follow the 5 steps that I said before and see if we can turn this thing around and get it going. And if you can, it can lead you to tons of stuff. I mean, for me, my 2 most successful businesses in my career that have been with me the longest would be my house flipping real estate investing business. I've had that for over 10 years. Home run offer, right? What I'm wearing now. And then, my education business, Wealthy Investor. I started that in 2018, So they both have been around a very long time and both have almost failed. I mean, multiple times the house flipping business has almost failed, right? When the market shifts, properties don't sell, you're running out of cash, you get losses, that business has almost failed multiple times over the years, but we got out of it. We've survived and we've thrived. Same thing with education. The education business, believe it or not, is very much in seasonal type things, right? I mean, we're in a world today where people are less trusting than ever. Information is becoming less valuable than ever because it's free. And so how do you survive as an education company is a very valid question when people expect information to be free. So what else can you give them? And in our case, we've had to pivot over the years. And, I love our current pivot where, we're not just education anymore. We give them services. We give students leads. We give them softwares. We do one-on-one coaching. We have amazing events and opportunities and partnerships. We can do lending for them. So we're transitioning more to a service-based company where the education is obviously still there at a high level, but that's kind of like the bonus instead of the thing. The services become the thing. And that's how companies have to evolve to stay in business. So anyways, thanks for watching this video. I'm hoping your company turns it around, gets out of the trouble, and takes it to the next level.